Hello everyone, welcome to our video ministry update for the month of May, where we share with you all that's going on in our lives and our ministry in the country of Bolivia. This past month, we were able to get together with all the other missionaries that are here in the U.S. at this time for our annual missions orientation. And this is something that we're able to participate in every time that we're here on furlough, and it always is really just a great blessing to us. The focus this year was a lot on facing discouragement, how to handle discouragement, and how to stick it out on the mission field. You know, I can personally say after all these years on the mission field that discouragement is something very real that we always face, and if it's not kept in check, it can really take a toll on us personally and especially on our families. I was able to teach 2 different classes. I was able to teach on balancing expectation versus reality. And I was also able to speak on how to keep our families spiritually healthy on the mission field. And so I was able to bring out, when it comes to our expectations, how our understanding of God's acceptance of us is what truly makes the biggest difference. We were able to look at 1 Corinthians 4, 1 through 5, and how that it begins with a humble spirit of a servant, and how that our trust in the Lord and understanding of His acceptance helps us to be discouraged or even put aside what other people might think about us. Now, instead of that causing complacency, as some people might think, I really feel like it's His love for us and His acceptance that is truly our greatest motivator. And then also when we looked at our trials, we were able to see how often the trials that we face in our life, the trying times, are usually what affects us spiritually and in our spiritual health. And we were able to look at James 1, 2 through 11, how a lot of it has to do with our attitude, how that we're supposed to have an attitude of joy in the middle of our trials and our difficulties, and how that can only come with the Lord's help, and how the Lord will help us through those trials and help us through those difficult times in our lives. You know, I can honestly say that in this missions orientation, that the time together, the time of fellowship, the time of being able to teach, it was a great privilege, but it was also a great encouragement to us so that we can continue on faithfully on the mission field and help many other missionaries do the same in their lives so that the Lord can do a great work where they're working. Also, now that we're closing in on the time of our return for Bolivia, we're excited to think about what our next steps in the ministry are. You know, when we started our ministry many years ago, it seemed like things moved very slowly. It required a lot of patience on our part. And although there's still struggles, although there's still pretty much always setbacks in the ministry, we can definitely say that things are moving forward much more quickly than they have in the past. And I think that a lot of that is due to the Lord raising up laborers, as we've always prayed for, but having men and even women that we're helping train in the pipeline during this time. So we have people who are just beginning their preparation stages. We mentioned that with Marvin and one of our recent prayer letters, and how that he's starting his Bible college. We have others who are probably halfway through, and then we have some that are even finishing up, and some who have already finished their Bible college, finished much of their preparation. And so we're making now our plans for the next steps, and also for hopefully a new church plant that will be coming in the near future, making plans for our return. We're excited about that, excited about getting back to Bolivia, praying for a couple of the families that are coming up that hopefully even after that we'll see ready to hopefully even start more churches there in the country of Bolivia. And so we're trusting the Lord for these plans, that He'll guide us and direct us. Always ask you to pray for that, and pray that we'll continue to see much fruit from the Lord there, and that the Lord will continue to raise up these families and help us train them and prepare them to serve Him in the ministry. You know, while teaching the church planting class, the leader training class in Vision, it really renewed my understanding, it renewed my desire and focus for investing in the lives of others, for discipling others, the importance of that. And so, you know, this is not something that is only done on the mission field. It's not something that's only done by us as missionaries, but it's something that we, as we mention often, all should be involved in. discipling others, investing in others, helping others grow in their spiritual lives. Because that's what makes a truly the greatest impact in our ministry, in our church, and even in our lives. We're supposed to be making disciples. And so maybe a question that you could ask, that I often ask myself to keep myself in check, is, who is my disciple? Who am I helping? Who am I investing in? Now, investing in some people might move away, some people might quit, and so that shouldn't discourage us. That just means that we find someone else to be our disciple, and we work with many different people and encouraging them and counseling them in their spiritual lives, discipling them so that they can grow, and then in turn do the same thing. And we truly will see a great impact in the world if we'll actually put that into practice. So a couple prayer requests for this month. Pray for the great need for laborers around the world. Pray that the Lord would continue to raise up laborers for Bolivia, in Bolivia, and for Bolivia. Pray that the Lord would continue to raise up laborers for Latin America, which is what we're closest to, obviously. And then obviously pray that the Lord will raise up laborers for around the world. It seems like the missions call is waning, it's decreasing. And so there is a need that is growing for there to be missionaries that are in their beginning stages, preparing to go out. So pray that the Lord will continue to raise up laborers. Pray for a revival in our churches towards missions and reaching the world with the gospel. That also is something that we've been able to see. Not all churches, obviously. Some churches are really encouraging, and it's great to see their desire and passion for missions. Others, not so much. And in general, I think that is also something that is waning across the U.S. We don't see as much focus on that sometimes, and especially when it comes to young people, that almost seems to be discouraged. And so pray that God will send a revival of missions so that we can see the work continue on. Also pray that the Lord will guide us and open doors as we prepare for this next church plant, that He'll guide us to the exact place as He always has. He'll open up those doors and help us see many people reached with the gospel. Also pray that the Lord will continue to protect us both physically and spiritually as we serve Him, especially in this time of preparation, as we begin to close things down here, as we transition back to Bolivia and get started in the work there. And so we just want to thank you so much for all that you do for us in the ministry in Bolivia, obviously, because without you, without that, we couldn't do what we do. So thank you so much, and Lord bless.